Alright, if that thing will be quiet, I'll tell you what's going on in here. Running this battery cable through this little channel and clearancing, what that's going to do is clean up the bottom of the floor, run it down this trans tunnel. Battery will be mounted in the back. That's going to help our weight transfer, keeping the weight on the wheels. It's also going to clean up the firewall, make it look cleaner, and keep wires from cluttering up that area. So we'll run this down. This will come in. It will duck down into a little hole in there with the grommet, of course. Go straight to the starter. Now, at the starter, we're going to pick up this fusible link. This comes from American Autowire with the kit and uses 8-gauge wire. What the fusible link does is it protects the rest of the system. So as you bring power from the starter to the fuse panel, if you get a ground, this will burn, this will fail, and then by failing, it's actually going to do its job, and by not doing its job, it's doing its job, so you figure that out. But it's going to save the battery, it's going to save the system. So you just take a little terminal like this, cut it to length, crimp it on, and just stick it right in. Very simple.
Hey, buddy, can I have that battery cable so I can terminate it?
Yep. There you go.
Great. This is really nice stuff. Now, I'll tell you, when you start doing battery cables and you're running them any length, you want to make sure you use a high-quality cable. This is an SAE gauge 1 cable. You want to use anything lighter. It's got 7 conductors in it. It's all copper. And don't use welding wire, welding cable. It's nice and soft, and it bends good. It doesn't carry the current. It doesn't have the right insulation on it. I promise you it's a source of problems. Now, one of the things I like to do, I like to buy these switches. Now, these aren't part of the kit, but this is a battery disconnect switch. Now, what you do is you just run this in series between the cable and the battery. Look at this one here. It just happens to be, there's all different types. This one will tell you that when it's on, tells you it's on, just push it, disconnects. That way, when you leave a car set, classic car, hot rod, custom car, muscle car, you shut it off. You don't have any parasitic draw on your battery. You've got some normally open and normally closed contacts here. You can wire across it to keep your battery memory, like your memory seats and memory radio, that kind of stuff alive. This can prevent your car from burning up. Buy a good quality one. All right, we've got a lot more to do with heat shrink, wire gauges, all kinds of stuff. A lot to learn about wiring, but right now we're going to take a break. Just stick around.
Your hair looks really nice when you blow dry it, Sam.
Thanks, buddy. This looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks cool.
Welcome back. We're continuing on the wiring on our 61 Impala. Took the battery cable, put the end on it, and I swaged it. You buy these little swaging blocks, put that in there, you set it down, whack it with a hammer, right.
Now, you can see what the original looked like. Here's the shrink wrap. You can see how far it shrunk down. So we dimpled it and then also soldered it. You just take solder, heat it up a little bit with a torch, and that's good to go.
Yeah, that makes a nice way to do it, and soldering is real good. And of course, I took this little 14-gauge wire. Heat shrink is nice stuff. Look at that. Looks like a factory deal. Especially if you make a connection like that with using a butt connector and you're doing this going to be outside the car. Make sure you put a little shrink wrap over it, take your heat gun.
And then just tape over it?
Well, you know this me. Outside, that doesn't last. This whole dash panel's really in nice shape in this car.
I made your life easy by cutting it out for you, didn't I?
You did. Hey, welcome back. Continuing on here, you can see we've got the dashboard out. I'm going to show you some of the neat things that come in this kit.
Over here, we went ahead and installed our ignition switch. Over on this side, this is your headlight switch. It's got a plug that comes straight from the harness, straight from the fuse box. Pop it right in. That's a piece of cake.
Yep. And you can see the original switch and the replacement is very close. You know, headlight switches have to have a circuit breaker in them for the headlights by law, so the replacement switch has the same thing. Here's the neat thing you need to know. The lights for the dome, interior, and tail lights are separate feed. Only your headlights are on the circuit breaker, and the way this is set up and the way this harness is set up, if you want to run a high current draw set of headlights like halogens or something, they got you covered. Okay. Now, we got the dashboard here. Of course, the cluster's in. Let's go ahead and flip this over.
Okay.
Now, if the dashboard in your car is welded in, you're not taking it out, they make it real easy for you. You take your whole instrument cluster out, set it on the bench, you wire all the back of the gauges, and in the harness, and they supply, got these quick disconnects. So you can get under the dash, wire everything, and you can work through the hole. Then you drop your cluster in, plug this in, it's plug and play, and away you go.
When you're doing that, this is your little bulb socket holder, pops in there.
Right.
Here's your little cable in, so you shorten it to length. You can either solder or crimp that heat shrink.
You get a whole box of those little bulb sockets, so everything's just like brand new.
Now you look in the front, there's your ignition switch. This can use the original tumbler, that way you can use the original key, or you can get a new one from them.
And you see the headlight switch over here, protrudes, and it's got a bezel on it. Now sometimes these staffs may be a little long, cut them to length, You got a set screw in the knob, so it works out just exactly right. And, you know, I've got the custom auto sound secret audio, but I really like that little stereo right there.
Chevy emblem, right for your pickup, perfect for your pickup?
Yeah, absolutely. Need to get one of those. But, you know, this is the planning stages now. We're laying all this stuff out, wiring everything. You know where the cables are going to go, where the wire harness is. Now, this car isn't done yet. It has a lot more to go, and then paint. So we'll take everything out, put it in a box. When it comes back from the paint shop, bingo, you're ready to go.
It'll be a piece of cake. All this preparation really pays off later because the holes are there, the grommets are there, everything's laid out, it's all the length. You paint it, bring it back, put it together. Goes very easy, saves you making mistakes and scratches and such later.
And it's going to, if you follow the directions, it'll go great the first time around. Well, I hope you learned something about wiring and how to use one of these kits. We're out of time. We'll see you next time here at Two Guys Garage.
Don't forget to check out our website.